I could have waited. I could have just waited until the sixth episode came and then would be, over with it. But I honestly really, really, really want to talk about this show, Hawkeye. As much as people say Hawkeye, they're like, oh, that character, he's the most forgettable one in the bunch, sadly. To me, I feel like there could have been more for him, honestly. I mean, for real, the MCU has only been marketing their big, well, box office butt seats in the theater winners. Mainly Iron Man, mainly Thor, mainly Captain America, and the Hulk. Well, they didn't give him a movie, but they could have. And that is a terrible thing to see Black Widow not getting a movie. And she finally gets one, like how many years too late? 10 years, probably? Or for how long this franchise has been going around for so long? It really is depressing seeing that. And it really is depressing even more knowing that some asshole is out there using Stan Lee's old Twitter account that he used and using it to market NFTs. I mean, that is like the most scummiest thing I've seen ever. And it really breaks someone's heart. It breaks a lot of people's hearts seeing Stan Lee being disgraced like that. But I'm getting ahead of myself on like stuff that I'm getting emotional on that I never got to talk about in the podcasts. I'll get to those things in future videos. But anyway, Hawkeye. Now, what is my opinion on the character? Well, he never had any development of a character or, anything interesting about him since the first Avengers movie. First Avengers movie, I thought nothing of him. I was like, oh, he's the Arrow guy. That's all he is. And then when Age of Ultron came along, he had more of a character to him. Not big, not, interesting still, because, there's still little you knew about him. But once you found out he had a family, it was actually pretty nice and touching to see that he has a family that he cares about and he would want to rather be with them than, fight off like a bunch of people. He'd rather just be with his family and that's it. And that's nice to see that he is a guy who cares about his family and wants to leave his past, leave his, assassin kind of like soldier ways behind that he used to have. And I saw him more of a character develop through him once we saw him in, an Endgame when he became the Ronin. And now we get to see more of him in this show that I actually do enjoy. I do love seeing the more character background of Hawkeye, seeing him pained, seeing him not thinking he's a hero, even though a lot of people view him as one, and does a lot of things for him that, hey, you saved our city, so you don't have to pay for anything. You don't have to do all this for us because, we appreciate what you did for us, even though he doesn't feel like he should be a role model. He doesn't want to be looked up to. He feels like he's done so many bad things in the past that he feels like he shouldn't be praised as a hero. And it shows that pain, that feeling of PTSD kicking in once he was watching the Steve Rogers musical and seeing Black Widow on that stage, and he starts to get flashbacks about her sacrificing her life just so they can get the other Infinity Stone. And it really hurts. It really does hit you seeing him struggle with the past that he tried to leave behind, and also him feeling heartbroken that he promised to be home for the holidays on Christmas with his kids, with his wife, and he sadly has to help Kate Bishop just because she made a lot of mistakes. And I can see people who are probably not a fan of the MCU, or I can see a lot of people who are not into the Marvel comics. I can see them get annoyed by Kate Bishop. But honestly, I see Kate Bishop as like she's the young protege. She's too like bright and wide-eyed that she's like fan gasming over being with her favorite superhero that inspired her to go and take up archery, take up martial arts and fencing, which was pretty cool to see. Her journey to becoming a better, not just a better archer, but a better hero as well, because she sees the pain that Hawkeye goes through and she wants to do better. And then you see her mature throughout these episodes. And I don't know how much more she's going to mature out in the 6th episode, but who knows? I have been enjoying Kate Bishop a lot. I actually been enjoying Haley Steinfeld's performance. I've always liked Haley Steinfeld as an actor. She has done a lot of great movies. I've honestly followed her career through her beginnings, like her first theatrical film that she ever did, True Grit. I watched Ender's Game. I'm trying to remember the other movies I've seen her in. I followed her career a lot in the 2010s, and she has always impressed me how she's great with her performances as an actor, especially her as Gwen Stacy. She was amazing in Spider-Verse and in Bumblebee, not gonna lie. I liked her in that too. And here she is very dedicated to this performance of being Kate Bishop, trying to, and she just, it does buy that she did want to be more. She did want to be a hero, and she has that moment where she's not sure anymore, but then she wants to make it up for all the mistakes she's done to Hawkeye, like him missing out on stuff he wanted to do with his family, and trying to also prove to him that she can be a great hero. And I really like that, the dynamic between these two. Like, yes, it's the bickering, kind of like buddy cop kind of thing, like we just don't get along kind of cliche. But seeing the connection between them throughout these episodes, and also seeing trying to right the wrongs from his past, all the harm he has done as his time as the Ronin. It is pretty interesting to see him go through this and trying to fix his mistakes that he's done. And I do like that. I love seeing these characters grow. And it's something I never got with Hawkeye in the Avengers movies. It's something I never got with Civil War. I mean, Age of Ultron, I did get a bit more out of him, but the other movies, nothing until like Endgame. I got something powerful about him, and seeing more of him, Jeremy Renner can carry a entire show, can carry a performance, and he does show it in this, which makes me wonder, man, Jeremy Renner could have had his own Hawkeye movie, or hell, could have been a supporting character in a Black Widow movie, and it would have been fucking cool. I do want to see the movie where Clint goes and sees Black Widow and he was hired to kill her, but he doesn't go through with it, and then they become friends. I want to see a movie about those two and all the adventures they probably had together. It would have been awesome. But, you know, I guess I'll settle with Yelena, played by, hope I'm pronouncing her name right, Florence Poe. or Powell, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, I'm sorry, uh, as Yelena, also known as Natasha's sister. And I always loved Yelena in the Black Widow movie. I thought the family was the best part of the Black Widow film. I thought the dark and grittiness of like the pain and torture that they went through together, this dysfunctional family that technically aren't blood related. They're just a cover for being agents basically, but seeing their connection to together, knowing that, you know what, even though we were just posed as a family, we are, connected in a way that we felt like we were family. And it was nice to see them together, seeing all the hardships they went. I wish there was more of it. I wish it was better handled in the movie, kind of. And Black Widow could have been a better film if it was made years ago and we learned more about this family later on. That could have hit more and have a bigger impact. And seeing Yelena was part of the snap, like she was turned to dust to ash, and it feels more scary because even though like we've seen like other people like Monica Rambeau come back and thinking she was still in the she was still in 2018 after her mom recovered from her surgery, only to learn 5 years later that her mother is dead, sadly. And but seeing Yelena with her experience, it's like it's been only 5 seconds for her. And it felt so creepy and scary in the beginning of the fifth episode, seeing her wash her hands, and all of a sudden she's like, what's going on? And everything around her in this bathroom she's in starts to change around her. Like it becomes a different color, different shape, different decorations going around. And then she comes out and sees one of her, friends or the Black Widow agents is now married and has a kid. And she's shocked, wondering what's going on, what happened. And she realized that she lost 5 years of her life, but she wants to know if her sister's okay. And the depressing part is she doesn't know that her sister died. And I feel like that was the depressing part, because I feel like once I saw it, because you think once you see Endgame, seeing Natasha sad, alone, bored of not doing anything else, you would think, oh, why didn't she go with her family? You know why? She lost her sister during Thanos' snap, which is very depressing to her. She has nothing to go to. She has no one to be with. She's just gone. I feel like the only person that benefited and felt happy that his daughter was alive was freaking Ant-Man, and he sees that she's fine, she's okay, and older, but at least Ant-Man got to see his daughter and everything was fine for him. But hell, everyone else, they lost families, man. And you see why Yelena's doing this. She thinks that Hawkeye killed her sister, and that's why she's after him, because she feels like, yeah, with his background, with all the blood he shed, all the things of the people he killed, she feels like you can't trust Hawkeye. You can't trust him, that he would just backstab you. And that's why she was hired to kill him. And then you find out who hired her to kill Hawkeye. And it's not the shockingly enough, well, not shockingly, because it feels like every Disney thing ever, the surprise bad guy in every freaking Disney movie or anything made by Disney, there's always the surprise villain. And I always hated the surprise villain cliche in movies. And I hate that Frozen started this shit. And as much as I've never hated the surprise villain thing before, because again, it's been done one time in a movie, and you're like, oh my god, I didn't expect that person to be the villain. And then you see it multiple times be done in a movie. I've seen it in freaking Frozen, Zootopia. What else had a surprise villain? Toy Story 3 had a surprise villain. It just feels like you get annoyed by it, that you start rolling your eyes thinking, my god, another surprise villain. I am so shocked. And you just bash your head on the wall thinking, can you just do something original that could keep us off guard? But they don't. And it turns out Kate Bishop's mother is a villain, and she was the one that said, I hired you to kill Hawkeye, which I don't know why she hired Yelena to kill Hawkeye. I mean, hell, if it wasn't for Hawkeye, her daughter would have been freaking dead. I don't understand. But the best part that does counteract the surprise villain thing is counteracted with another surprise villain. And that's not always a good thing, but it's a villain that you never saw for a long time, ever since 2018, basically. And it is Kingpin, Wilson Fisk himself. And I was like thinking, it can't be the same actor because they canceled the Netflix show. There's no way they got the same actor. And then the credits rolled. And once I saw Vincent D'Onofrio's name, I was like, oh my god, they're bringing back the Netflix shows in the MCU. And I thought it was never going to happen. That's why I stopped midway on the final season of Jessica Jones. That's why I stopped midway on the second season of Luke Cage. That's why I stopped midway on the third season of Daredevil, because I was like thinking, they're not going to continue it. They're not going to connect it to the MCU anyway. I bet they're just going to retcon it. No, they didn't. They brought back Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, which is awesome. I'm so happy. I should go back and rewatch the Netflix shows because, oh my god, I loved the Netflix shows. I loved Punisher. I loved all of them. My favorite was Jessica Jones, obviously, but because I just enjoy that show. It's amazing. I loved that character. I love the Marvel Netflix shows and how dark and gritty they were and how interesting those shows were, because they felt like they were going to like the more grounded side of the MCU, not like the big and bombastic side that the movies do, but they make it more grounded, which I loved, and more gritty, and I thought it was pretty cool. And seeing Kingpin back is awesome. And the whole rumors about Matt Murdock, Daredevil being in Spider-Man No Way Home. Yeah, I knew. As soon as Charlie Cox says like, hey, if I said anything, I might be ruining my chances to get another season. And I tipped that off thinking like, yeah, he's in the movie. And surprise, surprise, he is in the movie. I haven't seen No Way Home yet, but I heard he was in it for, I think, one scene, and and I couldn't wait, so I went on YouTube, because every asshole on YouTube is like spoiling the movie by showing recorded like camera footage of the theater showing of this movie. And to those people who are filming those in the theater and posting them on YouTube to spoil the entire people who haven't seen it, fuck you. Hope you die, because I hate you guys for trying to spoil it and being on my fucking recommendation list on YouTube. Fuck all of you. Uh, uh, and when I saw Matt Murdock, when I saw Charlie Cox back as Daredevil, but not Daredevil, but Matt Murdock, and I saw that like walking stick of his, the and seeing him with the glasses back, I'm like, it's like he never left that performance. It's like he never left. He still got it. He still got the character down pat immediately, and I'm like, that's Daredevil. That's my Daredevil. I love this man. He is awesome. And seeing him being Peter Parker's lawyer, I was like, this is cool. So I say, like, that's a yes on Daredevil. Like, Daredevil's back after showing Kingpin and Hawkeye and seeing him and seeing Matt Murdock back in Spider-Man. That's a confirmation for Daredevil. We don't know for certain what's going to happen for Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and the Punisher. Oh, and Iron Fist too. Even though Jessica Henwick was supposed to be in a Marvel movie, but she turned it down to do the Matrix film. And I don't know if that was a good move on her part, but then again, it's like, maybe she liked the Matrix movies and she thought it was a good opportunity to do something different outside of Marvel. So hopefully she's not fired from that performance and being replaced, because I did like Jessica Henwick in Iron Fist. Uh, she was like the best character. Well, one of my favorite characters in Iron Fist instead of the Iron Fist. I don't hate the guy, but every time I heard him talk, I always remember that one line where he's like, I am the immortal Iron Fist. I trained in Kung Lun, sworn enemy of the hand. I remember that line too much because he repeated it over and over again in the fucking show. And I'm like, is there a character outside of what you say? It's weird. But I did like those Netflix shows back then, when I was really, really deep in obsession with the Marvel series. Because let's face it, the DC universe wasn't doing too well back then. And I was like losing hope on my favorite kind of comic book company, that they are not doing too well in the movie business. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stick with Marvel for the time being until things get better, which they have. And I'm leaning more towards DC than Marvel these days, because DC has put out some banger stuff recently that I've been enjoying in 2021 more than Marvel, because all the movies I've seen from Marvel I felt were disappointments. And I know Spider-Man No Way Home is never going to disappoint me, because believe me, that movie looks awesome. And I really hope to see it in the theater one of these days. But I didn't like Black Widow. Shang-Chi could have been better, but sadly it fell apart. It could have been a cool martial arts movie, but ended up being a CGI mess. The TV shows have been better. I did like WandaVision, except the final episode. I liked everything about WandaVision except the final episode. Falcon and the Winter Soldier had some good character arcs. I love the character arcs, but the story was very blah. I didn't like the story, but I did like the characters. But I really hated that they were standing on their soapbox so long that it hurts. I did enjoy Loki. I loved Loki. I thought Loki was damn good. And Hawkeye, obviously, I'm enjoying this show. Also, Marvel has been doing well with its TV shows more than its actual movies. And I heard Internals wasn't that all that great either. But I guess Spider-Man No Way Home is going to be the only great Marvel movie that came out this year. So, because I've been hearing a lot of overwhelming praise from this movie, more than Shang-Chi, more than Eternals. Every time I heard people say, like, yeah, Shang-Chi's good, yeah, Eternals is good, or they're like, yeah, it's fine. It's only like a few people, but every time I go on Twitter, and thank God, no spoilers, it's always people saying like this is the best fucking Spider-Man movie. This is one of the top 3 best Spider-Man movies. Everyone's putting it high up on the list with Spider-Verse and Spider-Man 2. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. I know I'm getting ahead of myself and now I'm talking about Spider-Man, but man, but I'm just excited that the Netflix Marvel series haven't been retconned. I'm so happy they haven't been retconned because I was so dedicated with those shows. I was like binging them left and right because I was like thinking maybe the MCU is going to include them in the movies. And as much as I wish it was happened earlier, and believe me, it would have been cool to see Agent Coulson back because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Could have been part of the MCU in a big way, but sadly wasn't. It would have been cool to see Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff, but I gave up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a real long time ago because, well, I couldn't. I couldn't continue it due to the fact that I felt like, yeah, there's no way they're going to include them in the movies. And I gave up on that show a long time ago. But I am happy at least that the Netflix Marvel series haven't been dead. So if more characters from other MCU TV shows come to the movies or come to other shows on Disney Plus, I might be taking and willing to look at them and review them in the future and see if I like them or not. But I'm distracted with Hawkeye. I'm loving Hawkeye. I'm also loving it's a Christmas show as well, so I'm happy about that. I'm liking the characters. I am in love with Kate Bishop. She's a great character. And if she does get the mantle passed on to her, and this is Jeremy Renner's uh like final outing as Hawkeye, I'd be okay with it because Kate Bishop seems like a pretty cool character, and Haley Steinfeld's got the charisma and personality to be in the new Avengers. So if she does get the mantle passed on to her, then we're gonna have her. We're probably gonna have Yelena as the new Black Widow. Uh, who knows what's gonna happen in the future of Marvel? All I know is I'm excited for that, and hopefully this 6th episode we're gonna see Vincent D'Onofrio in all his glory because all we got from him was episode 2 was his laugh when he goes to the little like girl that was a mute and he's like or something like that. Yeah. So I am so looking forward to wondering what's the future of Daredevil and what's the future of the Netflix series and seeing if they're back. If because you know what? I'm just realizing this because I remember there was a year wait, like a 3 year or a 4 year wait until they can use those characters again, I think. And shockingly enough, I think those years have been up. So that means Disney has been waiting to bring these characters back, and luckily they haven't retconned the Netflix series. So I guess since the 5 year or probably 3 year wait with using these characters again was probably already up, I'm guessing they're now using them, or maybe like I'm guessing Iron Fist and Jessica Jones are not on the table yet, since their shows last season came out in 2019. So, and I think Punishers as well. So I think we gotta wait another year until they can use Jones, Iron Fist, and Punisher again. So I'm looking forward to that. I would love to see more Punisher, uh, and Jessica Jones. So who knows? But anyway, Hawkeye has been really fun. I will say I do like that it's taking a more serious tone and a more dramatic feel to it. I mean, the humor is good too. I do like the levity in this. Even Kate Bishop's like little bit of a comic relief, but she was pretty cool still. Like she's not just like comic relief all the time, and she has made a lot of terrible mistakes, but she does have a good like serious performance of her as well, which I like. That I'm happy that Haley Steinfeld is taking the character very seriously, and I'm happy for that. And yeah, the shows of Marvel have been more drama heavy and interesting lately. Even Falcon and the Winter Soldier, despite how much I bash it a lot, I love the character development between Winter Soldier and Falcon. Like, they have a lot of good character arcs in that show. I just wish there was a story to hold it for me to go back to and watch. But that's neither here or there. I am in love with these Marvel TV shows and hope to see more of them in the future. And can't wait for the 6th episode of Hawkeye. So thank you guys for watching. And if you like this, that's cool. And you can watch my other videos if you want to. And yeah, the next review will be up once I see the episode. So, ciao, darlings.
Ow, ow, ow! Ow! Ow!